And welcome to the Lapani Technologies podcast. I am your host, Brandon Lapani, and what a wonderful show we have for you here today. I just want to say this might be possibly the last podcast before the new year. I'm not sure yet. It all depends if with our schedules here. We got quite a few people with some time off and some other things coming up here. So this possibly could be our last podcast till after the new year, but we'll see how it goes. But I want to say hello to everybody. Happy holidays. And we're looking forward to doing a podcast for you here, as always, our weekly podcast here at Lapani Technologies. I just want to say, first of all, as everybody knows, you can follow our blog at allamericancomputerrepair.com, or you can /blog, or you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Lapani Tech. And you can visit us and see all of our stuff available for sale on our eBay store at www.aacrstore.com. And just wanted to say one thing. We haven't talked about this whole situation with the school. It's a very touchy subject. A lot of people know my fiance and I, is a child involved, and so talking about kids and this stuff over in Connecticut, is very, very touchy subject for me. But I've been getting so many questions via email and all that type of stuff that I think we're gonna. I think I want to just briefly touch on here in the podcast. When it comes to security, I know everybody keeps asking me, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? It's so tough because, no matter what you do, you can't control what people do. And I'm not going to get in the whole issue of gun control because I just, I don't really want to get into that. I don't really have a stance on that. But, everybody says, how could it have been avoided? Well, yeah, you could put bulletproof glass on every door. You could put every swipe pad you want. You could do a man trap. But it's so hard, one of the things I tell you I don't agree with is, one of the things I've been reading in the papers and stuff like that, is about, all the schools, what they're doing to improve security and all that type of stuff. And, I don't agree with it personally. The schools don't need to advertise what they're doing to improve security. The information like that should be held private. You don't see any huge major corporations advertising what they're doing to beef up security from a physical security standpoint. I think it's just bad decision by the schools to publish what they're doing. Oh, here's where our guards are. Here's what we're doing with TV. Here's what we're doing with security cameras. Here's what we're doing. With letting our staff know. I really think that it's. I really think it's something that it doesn't need to be advertised. You know what I mean? I we've had a lot of issues with copycat crimes over the last week or so because. The press, in my opinion, is just giving this guy way too much press. And we're not going to mention his name, and we're not going to talk about this very long because I don't want to give anybody. Those people in Connecticut have had enough press. They don't need any more from this podcast or anything like that. But as far as security goes, security is only as good as the people implementing it, as I've said before, and it's only as good as Unfortunately, stuff like this happens. You can't secure everything, but unfortunately, just a very unfortunate tragedy. And of course, we want to give let our prayers and all that out to those people in Connecticut, and I can only imagine. I can't even imagine what they're feeling. So I just ask everybody if your prayers and all that could be with those people. That'd be great. And I just want to wish all those families the best, and hope they make it through the holidays. But on a more pleasant note, I want to say to everybody, I don't know if anybody's noticing, but the audio quality has definitely went up on this podcast. We've actually went out and we got a couple of SM48 microphones here, and actually got a boom here in the a new microphone boom here. We actually haven't had one. We've been using kind of like a handheld kind of lip mic that you get from come with your Mac. This is a little more high tech here, a little bit better audio quality, and all that type of stuff. We're doing this podcast more often now, so might as well get a couple of things here. I'm a musician, so it's I have the boom and I had some microphones and stuff. I just needed to buy some adapters, but I hope everybody is enjoying the much better audio quality and the much better sound. It's unbelievable, that we how far this podcast has come, and only the couple months we've been doing it. I've heard some of our earlier ones; they were a little rough, but I think we're getting into the knack of it now. And we've actually been thinking about there's a talk blog, blog talk. What is it, blogtalkradio.com, I think it is, where you can actually do a live podcast. We've been thinking about doing that, but the only problem with that would be is you can't record the audio and then resubmit it up to. I suppose we could if we ran the GarageBand program the same time we started the podcast up on the live thing. It probably would record it. I don't know how we would get the feed though from the Skypes and all that type of stuff that they offer. It's something we're going to have to look into. Yeah, we're going to have to look into that. See if we can do that. Because that'd be great to do more of a live podcast. I mean, obviously we get your questions and all that via Twitter and all that type of stuff. By the way, you can also get a hold of us via Skype at Lapani Tech. Same thing at our Twitter at Lapani Tech. And obviously you can contact us at the blog, allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog. But, we'd like to do something a little more. People can call into the radio the podcast and do some more things that may be a little more live radio and stuff like that. We definitely can do that. We just have to look into doing it. Probably even help our audience too, because a lot of people I know a lot of people do use that blogging platform. Yeah, we might be able to do that. We'll have to look. We're going to look into that. Another thing, we got some requests from some other people as well here, and I don't want to harp on any top subject too long, but we got a lot of requests from people asking if we can do some other podcasts as well. I guess they really enjoy the security podcast that we do every week. Some people asked if we can do some more podcasts, perhaps. I mean, I don't want to do as many as like a Twit TV would do. I mean, but we might be able to do a couple more. It depends. We have to see what the guys are up to. We might be able to do like maybe a hardware one, or maybe even like a This Week in Tech, or something similar to that. We might be able to do something like that. I have to see if we can get other people to get in here. I can't do them all myself. I mean, I don't have that type of time, but perhaps we can get somebody else in the office to do another one. We might be able to do that. We're going to work on. I'm going to work on that over the new year. That might be my new. That might be something to get the guys to do, especially when they have some downtime. So anyway, if we can probably let's get on to the the podcast here. Let's see, what do we have going on? We did quite a few. We do have I have quite a bit of questions here off my Twitter and off my Skype here. Also, some people chatting with me right now. They know a couple of friends of mine that know I'm doing the podcast. They're actually chatting with me right now here on Skype. Let's see what we have. One of the things I want to talk about, I guess, is let's do the news first, and then we'll go to the questions and answers at the end. I like doing the questions and answers at the end. If you read, Facebook pushing out some new privacy settings. So if you want to check your privacy settings and see what's going on there, apparently the privacy shortcut menu is now part of the main bar toolbar at the top of Facebook's page. Previously, if you clicked on the down arrow at the end of the bar, of course, your privacy settings, but the new and more visible menu displays basic options of how to set various privacy options. Now, as you know, Facebook's big thing have always been with the privacy. They always get you with the privacy settings. That's always been the big gotcha with them. So, check your privacy settings. I know a lot of you probably talked. I know a couple of you contacted me about the whole situation with Instagram. Boy, that was they said they kind of said that they owned the pictures, and a lot of people were getting freaked out and stuff like that they were going to be selling your pictures or whatever. But then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, they rescinded it. So that's a big. I think that shows right there the power of the users right there. Enough people complain that they rescinded it within a few days. I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge Instagram fan. To me, it's taking a picture and then you put like an overlay on top of it. To me, it's really like a cheap photography. My fiance is a photographer, and I know what she goes through for picture editing and stuff like that. That's something we should do. We should get her on for like a camera expert on the show. We should do that. I'm gonna get her to do that. One of the things I got a couple things from people that listen to the podcast saying we don't do enough with photography. So, it's another. That's one thing. Yet, I don't really care for the app personally myself. We talked about this security for the last podcast. I'm not going to go over it again, but we talked about the last show. I don't really care for it. To me, it's just I don't really like it. So, to me, it just seems like I don't know. I just don't care for it. I never really liked it. I'd rather just post my pictures that I want up on Facebook or Twitter rather than go through and edit it, customize them. I get where it could be, a bit of a. I guess I see what the cool factor is in it, but I don't really care for it. So, if you enjoy it, nothing wrong with it. But I just don't particularly care for the app myself. But that's just me. The next thing I want to talk to you about is there's a suspected security hole found in many Samsung devices. I want to go over this. Suspected security hole affecting a handful of Samsung smartphones could give apps access to user data and leave a handset vulnerability to malicious apps bricking, according to a developer. The vulnerability, which has discovered, detailed by XDA member with his handle. I can't pronounce the handle, by the way. The ARM-based system on a chip typically found in Samsung smartphones, so that would mean Samsung Galaxies, Samsung Notes. Development exploit says bypasses the system's permission, allowing an app to extract data from devices' RAM and inject malicious code into the kernel. For those of you that are familiar with Linux, for the most part, all Google stuff runs on Linux OS, some version of it. The person said they stumbled upon the vulnerability while trying to find a new way to root his Galaxy S3, but the new exploit affects the Galaxy S2, Note as well, and the Nexus 10 is unaffected as it uses a different chip. It uses the Exynos 5 chip. The good news is we can easily obtain root on these devices, and the bad is that there is no control over it. So that's, I'm sure Samsung will be patching that pretty soon. Let's see what else we have here in the news. I always like to pick a bunch of good security articles for the news here. I do my best to try to pick the best ones. If anybody has any suggestions, by the way, you can send them to me on the Twitter account, at LePennyTech again. This is kind of a neat one. WikiLeaks is going to release over 1 million new documents in 2013. They've been... we've talked about WikiLeaks before in the past on the blog site and stuff like that. They've been, they have this anonymous way of being able to. It's actually, the way they designed it is pretty neat. You can anonymously drop in, documents, stuff like that, without being tracked back to you. It's supposed to be for anonymous reasons to protect the people that are releasing obviously these top secret documents, but they're going to release 1 million more documents. I think this is part of them too, trying to stay in relevancy. I don't know if you guys remember, for a while they kind of fell off the map there for a while. They're falling into relevancy. I think they're doing this now to try to get back into the swing of things and get back in the news, kind of. Julian Assange, he's been in that. He gave a Christmas speech. Just a couple days ago, from the London embassy, because he's in exile there pretty much. And he doesn't want to be extricated back to America because he could face life in prison, they said probably the death penalty. But and of course, there's other countries that want to exile him for some other things he did. But he's been in this place for like almost 185 days. Well, more than that now, but according to his speech, he's been in there for 185 days. The guy's pretty much living in the embassy, in Ecuador's embassy, and he's making speeches off the balconies and stuff like that, claiming to be a journalist. I don't know. I think he's definitely going to get sick of that place. We know he's definitely a shady character, but he's been in that embassy forever. That's his office, his home now. It's like exile for him pretty much. He can't step 1 foot, or is they're going to so he's going to be in there for a while. I know for a while back he was taking collections for all of his legal bills and stuff like that. People were donating it. They just recently got past that blockade where people weren't allowed to donate to WikiLeaks. I think they said it cost them like $5 million in donations or something like that. I think it was more maybe. But, he's been there a while. So I'd be curious to see what exactly he's going to do. I've been following the story because I just think it's interesting. This has been going on for so long now. I made a comment the other day on Twitter that John McAfee can learn something from this guy. He's definitely somebody that... he's been on the run for quite a while. I'd be curious to see what's going to happen. The whole thing with Michael Moore, obviously. I mean, there's been so many things with this guy. It's unbelievable. I'd be curious to see how. I always follow this. I'm curious to see how this, how this fades out, how this, how this plays out. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I'll keep you up to date on it. I think it's an interesting story. Because the thing is, why it's interesting, it's been going on for years now, almost at this point. So another thing that I wanted to bring up in the news. Talking about services here is Flickr is offering a 3 months of pro service. I personally have a Flickr account. My fiance definitely has one. You can find a wonderful photography at hers. They're offering it's not the pro service costs about $25 per year, or a bit less than that, $2.10 a month, or about $45 a year, about $1.88 a month. It really depends on which one you're getting. But it gives users a nothing to lose chance to try and buy Pro. Offers you among unlimited uploads of up to 50 megs per photo, unlimited viewing, one's personal library. Oh, by the way, they're not they're not a sponsor, but I just want to say I think they're a fabulous service. One of the best ones Yahoo has anyway. They're obviously Instagram. Instagram obviously is going to do something trying to capitalize on this. Obviously, Flickr and Instagram are competition. Flickr obviously overhauled their iPhone app just recently. The mobile apps on the iPhone, the Android, Windows Phone, get a holiday gift because they automatically get the 3 months of free service. But it's really a really fabulous service. I like Flickr myself. I like a bit on Instagram, and it's something that if you haven't tried it, you should definitely try it. It's free, 3 months of it. Just depends if you're a big video person or not. Another big, getting off that. By the way, I just want to talking about offers and sponsors. I just want to make a shout out to our sponsors here. Audible.com for great audiobooks. I can tell you, I've been looking on there the other day. I'm going to actually have an Audible subscription. I've been looking on there the last couple of days, and I can honestly tell you, I can't find a book that isn't on there. Go on audible.com, and if you go to our site, allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog, see on the right-hand corner, if you click through there, we'll get the credit for it, and allows us to be able to keep doing stuff like this. And you get a free month trial. It's not worth it. It's worth it. For a free month. A free month. It doesn't cost you anything. And you get one free download. Audible.com. Like I said, it's a great service. If you like to listen to audiobooks, I know myself, I like listening to audiobooks at the gym when I'm running the treadmill. I'm going to go to the gym tonight. I'm going to pop in an audiobook, and it makes the half hour go by quick. On that treadmill. So I recommend, as well as too, long car rides. I'm on the road a lot, or on planes a lot. That it's great to have that great book. A book makes that time go by just like that. And I recommend Audible to everybody. Audible.com. Like I said, go to our site and click through, and we get the credit for it, and allows us to keep doing great stuff like this. And they're such a fabulous service. Again, it's Audible.com, and for those of you who don't know, they're actually owned by Amazon, and there's no books on there I haven't found. So go ahead and look up, and even if you click through, even if you just go to audible.com and look through, see if there's a book on there you're interested in, then go to our site, click through, and get it downloaded. Just get it. You get a free month, and you get a free download. So go on there, find a book you like, go through our site, click through, download that one book and listen to it. If you don't like it, you can cancel. But at least this way you get one free book. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So audible.com. Again, our site, allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog, and you can go and click through Audible right there. You see it on the right-hand side. Another one I want to talk about as well is the Roku. They're a sponsor for us as well, Roku.com. Again, if you go to our site, click through, you can get $25 Roku. It's a fabulous product. I love it. They recently I have one personally myself. They're really, really great. They just added Spotify, and they just added Vevo on there. So it's a really great service. There's a channel for everything on there, guys. It's definitely worth it. I have one. I actually cut my cable bill down because I actually have one. And you go to our site and click through, you can get a discount on it. I think it's definitely worth it. I like it. They're always adding new services: Pandora, Spotify. There's CNET on there. There's Twit TV. There's a channel for everything. You can watch Netflix, Hulu, all of them on there. And it's a really wonderful service, and I recommend getting one. Like I said, I have one. It probably was the best $50 I ever spent. So go ahead, go to our site again, and you can click through and get yourself a discount on one of them. Roku, fabulous device, streaming audio. Any questions, like I said, about any of these products, Audible or Roku, feel free to get to me at Twitter and Skype at LevannyTech. And let's see, what else do we have here in the news? And here we got another interesting possible IE bug, which will let hackers track mouse movements. This is one that kind of shocked me, because this has been around since IE6 and nobody really even noticed it. Let me just read part of the article to you. Microsoft is investigating a possible flaw in its Internet Explorer web browser that allegedly enables attackers to track users' mouse and cursor anywhere on the screen, even if the browser window isn't in use. The alleged flaw, which security firm Spider.io says it discovered a few months ago, compromises the security of virtual keyboards and virtual keypads in all supported versions of browsers since IE6, and I think even IE10 has it. Security research says it informed Microsoft on October 1st that the security flaw is there, and it has not been patched. While the Microsoft Security Research Center has acknowledged the vulnerability in Explorer, they have also stated that there is no immediate plans to patch the vulnerability in existing versions of the browser. The firm says in a statement, it is important for users of Internet Explorer to be made aware of the vulnerability and its implications. Personally, I don't use IE, nor do I use Safari. We know my feelings on integrated browsers. I'm not going to go into it, but I would recommend Firefox or Chrome or Opera or something like that. Just don't use Internet Explorer with a flaw like that. I wouldn't recommend it at all. But I don't use IE or Chrome, so it really doesn't affect my life really that bad. But for any of our listeners, I would recommend changing your browser. Chrome is the most secure one, by the way. Lately, I don't know what's going on with Firefox. I talked to a friend of mine the other day. I mean, I do like Firefox's add-ons, especially, everybody knows my feeling on tracking cookie and Google and stuff. But, I have to say, Chrome is, even though they're tracking you, it's so darn secure. I like to use it, so, maybe I'm a hypocrite, I don't know. Man, I hate to think I'm a hypocrite, but, GhostShell, by the way, claims the breach of 1.6 million accounts at the FBI, NASA, and more. Team GhostShell, the hacktivist group, said that they have stolen accounts. Huge number of government agencies, NASA, FBI, Pentagon, Interpol, stuff like that, and they posted them up on Pastebin. So those guys they said they're going to be a couple major hacks for the end of the year, but there's not much time left in the year, so if they're going to do more hacks, they better get on it. The other thing that I wanted to point out as well is I hate bringing up this Connecticut thing, but it seems like everything's in it, even security is interconnected to it. Everything with security has been interconnected to it. It's a shame, but one thing that was interesting was the Anonymous with that Baptist church. I mean, they released everything about everybody, and it just shows you don't mess with Anonymous, don't mess with anything that they're involved with, because they will burn you. And they released everything from usernames, passwords, social security numbers, house layouts, house addresses, house sales, electric bills, cable bill. I mean, you name it, they pretty much exposed everything about everybody. So, Anonymous there really showing that they, that they were really upset that they were going to protest these funerals. But, it seems like everything's interconnected with this security thing in this particular incident. It's a shame. But I wanted to bring that up about Anonymous. I wanted to also say, I got a lot of questions about Windows 8 and the classic start menu. When we were talking about the beta and stuff like that, you were able to actually get the classic start menu back. Unfortunately, with the new one, none of the registry changes or anything that will put it back. However, there's a Pokki Windows 8 start menu. Is a particular program that allows you to get your classic start menu back on 8. Pokki has over 500,000 downloads. And gives you back a classic start menu. So go ahead and download that. It's a really great product. It's worth it, believe me. Get the classic start menu back. I can't stand the Windows 8 start menu. On a tablet, I'm sure it's not bad, but just on a regular machine, it's horrible. I just wanted to bring up, too, as well, RIM is coming out. I know a lot of people have heard on the news that their stocks have been going down and they've been tumbling, but they have a new touchscreen product coming out, and they're taking a whole new direction. So, curious to see what happened with that. They definitely got a lot of ground to make up, but, definitely is, I'd be curious to see what they're going to do. I mean, some companies can recover. You'd be surprised. RIM's still hanging in there. Actually, believe it or not, what's funny was a lot of people don't realize was that RIM actually had the App Store before anybody else. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, I have to tell you, and I'm getting, I've got a couple of tweets here, a couple of messages on Skype saying, talk about landmark. One of my friends made a joke, talk about landmark changes in technology. You know, there's been a couple of landmark changes as of late. You know, 07 with the iPhone, you know, that really changed the landscape of the computing industry. I mean, there have been tablets before that. I remember I had a Palm, which was revolutionary for its time. But, you know, the iPhone really changed the market, the tablet market and the gadget market. And then, too, in 2010, the iPad, you know. And before that, you know, in the 80s, you had the Apple. You know, that was the Macintosh. That really changed the game, a graphical user interface. You know, there's so many landmarks in technology you could talk about and how fast it changes. You know, I mean, look at what Netflix did. I mean, I remember when Netflix really got its go in 2000, 2001. I mean, look at what it did to, well, I mean, it was actually, it might have been a little later than that. I think it was maybe in 03 when they got their real big push on television stuff. But, I mean, they really got... I mean, look what they did. I mean, video stores used to be on every single corner, and Blockbuster. I mean, look at how fast Blockbuster fell to relevance because of high-speed internet and Netflix. I mean, it's just amazing how fast technology progresses. And while we're on the topic of streaming media, Hulu obviously, you know, they have 3 million active paying subscribers, and you know they're supposedly they're declaring that even though they made a huge profit, they're still apparently in the hole, which is ironic. But you know, as they're owned by obviously you know, Walt Disney, Comcast, and News Corp. I believe from what I'm reading, they're up for sale, but nobody's bought them. $654 million, I believe, is what they're up for sale for. Oh, sorry, $659 million is what they're up for sale for. But you know, there's been talk about Apple buying them. But see, Apple's not really into subscription services. Apple's really more into you purchasing the media and then downloading it. And obviously Amazon's got their own now, so I'd be curious to see what happens. But Hulu apparently is still not making money, apparently. See, and here's the problem: is when you have multiple owners like that in a company, you know, Disney really wants that. You know, they like the free thing with the advertisements, where Comcast wants to go, you know, only subscription service, and News Corp, they don't have any voting rights, but. I mean, News Corp wants a different direction. It wants to keep it the way it is. So, I mean, you have three different partners, all with different decisions and different how they're gonna, you know, what they're gonna do. So it's really a tough situation right now for those guys. Curious to see what happens to Hulu. I'd hate to see them. I don't really use Hulu that much, but I hate to see them go the way they do. Have some good television shows on there that I like to watch on occasion. By the way, also too, the iOS 6.02. I got a report. Here, one of our hardware guys just emailed me. Says that the iOS 6 is draining batteries for most users. There's been a lot of complaints about it. You should mention it on the podcast. So I'm mentioning it. If you have 6.0.2 and you're having battery issues, join the club. So, well, that's about it as far as I have on the news. What's our time here? Oh, we still got plenty of time on the podcast. Well, you know, I mean, not that we have a set amount of time, but I like to get the podcast done in an hour if I can. I try to anyway. One of the things I want to bring up, I know some people follow the blog, some people don't. One thing I have noticed that's interesting is the people that follow the podcast don't read the blog that much, and most people that read the blog don't listen to the podcast. So, kind of an interesting situation. I find it interesting. I just got it from a friend. I've never met anybody that can dialogue by himself for an hour. Yes, folks, if you know me, I can dialogue by myself for 2 hours. I don't need a co-host. When it comes to talking about security, believe me, I can go on and on for hours. Don't get me started at a Christmas. Oh, my Christmas parties, people get me started on security, and I can go on and on and on for hours. Yeah, it's a bad habit. I get it from my mother. If any of you know my mother. But you know, it's really great to have all of you wonderful listeners out there. We're actually looking into possibly, like I said, doing more podcasts and even possibly doing a radio show. But we'll keep you up in the loop in that. We're even looking into possibly live podcasts, which would even be great. So we're working on that. Let me see. One of the things I posted up on the blog is about the Google tracking cookies. You know, user data is Google's lifeblood. You know, I mean, they make money on advertising. You know. And they want to track your data so they can give targeted ads, so they can sell ads and people will buy them and they'll make money. I mean, obviously Google's in business to make money, so I wouldn't expect anything less from them. But the Google tracking cookie, one of the things I've done some extensive research on this, is Google actually in their cookie actually logs, IP addresses, geographical location, search terms, time and date stamps, visitors' websites, your browser configurations, Gmail information, photos, and Google+. Now, people say, how is this possible? Well, I don't know if any of you do any work with websites. We actually do have somebody here that does web design. If you've ever used Google Analytics, it knows everything. So it doesn't surprise me that they know this information, actually. Reading Google Analytics, is that knowing what Google Analytics has available and doing some research on this particular issue didn't actually surprise me, because we all know what Google collects, especially if you're into web development. But they're actually, here's the good thing though. Google has had some issues with privacy concerns over the years and stuff, and there is a product out there called Google Sharing. It's a great product, actually. It's by Incorporated. You can find all these links on our blog site. I'm not going to shout them all out right now. Google Sharing, though, actually consists of a custom proxy and a Firefox add-on. The proxy works by generating a pool of Google Sharing identities, which contains cookies issued by Google by arbitrary users. So what this is basically putting your cookies in with a bunch of other cookies. So this way, Google can't track you as easily, because they're not just getting your cookie; they're getting a pool of anonymous cookies. Obviously, this isn't going to help you with your Gmail, your Google+. But if you're running Firefox, you can use this, and it's actually, and also too, it actually strips out information, and it allows you to actually search the web anonymously without Google tracking you. It's really great. I mean, obviously, it doesn't help with your Gmail or anything like that, but at least you can browse the web without Google knowing who you are. So it depends. I mean, if you're like me and you don't like somebody tracking your personal information, that's an option for you. The other thing I talked about is the Tor project. Now, this is something that I know has been the topic of a lot of controversy. I know a lot of people have been using it for, just like anything else. Great technology can also be used for bad things, okay? People that are in the security industry like me and the guys that work for me, we want to protect people. But there are people that use the knowledge that we have and use it for bad things. I mean, that's why there's Hackerville in Sweden. But, we use our abilities for the betterment of other people. Okay? There's a product out there called Tor, which is, in my opinion, could possibly replace the VPNs, okay? But people are using it for bad things, like putting things that shouldn't be on the internet up. But what this does is it allows a person to wrap their data in this Tor. We call it an onion because onions have layers. It allows you to wrap the data in this Tor onion, okay? And each layer of the onion, as you hop through the servers, is peeled away. And each server doesn't know what the next server's data is because it's encrypted. Okay? I'm gonna read you a small excerpt from the blog here, give you a little bit more in depth. What Tor does, it allows you to plan your route through the Tor cloud of servers across the globe. So you're actually planning your route, okay? So if you don't want to go through a server in Germany, you can go through a server in Russia. I mean, it really all depends. You're planning your own route, by the way. And then what you do is, and then you get a public key for all those servers. And then you prepare the onion packet of data and successfully encrypt your data, okay, in a reverse sequence of the way you're sending the packet. Okay, you have to do reverse sequences, obviously, because your end node is going to be the first key you're going to want to encrypt. Tor allows for then each layer of the known, and what you're gonna want to do is after you go ahead and you get this Tor pass set up, each layer of the knows about the next hop, and not the server before it or not the server after. So you're sending a packet into the first node, it decrypts it in the next layer because it has that private key that matches the public key, because that's the way the protocol works. Then the first node looks at the next layer, just then tells it where it's sending it to, but it can't decrypt the data because it doesn't have that key. So the first node is not able to decrypt the second node data because it doesn't have that private key. And I think it's cool about Tor is it allows that the anonymity piece, and this is gonna. I think if this is done properly, it could actually replace VPNs. It really could. Tor actually, in my opinion, it might actually be better than a VPN because it's not only is it encrypting the data, it's encrypting the path, which is a little bit different than a VPN. But because there's no way to find a Tor route. Now I know a lot of people now. The other thing about Tor is it's also hiding your digital footprint. So you can't be traced. Obviously, the path can't be traced back to you. Even if the log files are kept on the server, it's not going to help you because of the way Tor is designed. So, but I know a lot of people say, "Well, I've heard a lot of people getting nailed for this." Well, here's the thing. If you're running a Tor server on, in your house or in your business or in your data center, the problem you're going to run into with this is that you're going to if you're monitoring an end node, remember the data has to merge onto the internet somewhere. So if you're monitoring, if they're monitoring the end node, wherever data comes out of there from your end node, you're going to be responsible for it because it came out of your server, and that's where people are getting caught and are getting in trouble with this. Just because you're hosting it, so if somebody puts something up there that's illegal from your end node and they're monitoring your end node, you're the one's going to get in trouble for it. That's the weakness with Tor. So anybody that's monitoring network surveillance or traffic analyzers, if they're monitoring the end node, they're going to get your information. So and you're responsible for it because it came off of your server. That's the problem with Tor. Tor, Tor's also it's being used for also they have a Tor like the hidden services Tor. It's a part of Tor that's just freshly new out, by the way. It's available, people using it for Bitcoin mining and stuff like that. Tor's available though for Linux, BSD, Mac, Windows, Android. It's Firefox add-ons and stuff. So it's really, really a great. It's really a great product. So it's I like it, but just like anything else, people sometimes use things for the wrong reasons. But because they want that anonymity piece. By the way, too, I have another post up on the internet. I'm not going to go completely into it, but there's these $3,000 streetlights that apparently record, take pictures, and all that type of stuff. Talking about privacy, that's a big issue. This has been going on for a while now, but it's really coming to a head now since they're putting them in San Francisco, Connecticut, Ohio, places like that. So if you want information on that, go to the blog. We can definitely, there's some information on there, some links out to some other sites and such. The other thing I put up there too, even as my ham radio operator, it's one of the reasons I'm into radio too a little bit, is the Echo Link. Really a fabulous, it's basically like, it's for ham radio operators. It's voice over IP communications via radio. It's actually ham radio. It's actually really, really neat. We have some more information on it. It resembles it's basically like Skype, Google Talk, Airwave, even a chat roulette. Now, there's something you guys haven't thought of in a while, chat roulette. That's kind of what Airwave was, by the way. Airwave was trying to come back. They were kind of trying to revive kind of chat roulette in their own kind of way. It didn't really work out too well. I don't know if you guys remember chat roulette, but it was really not the hottest thing in the world. It really was really nasty. I think there's more information I can tell you about it, but it was really, I don't want to talk about it on the podcast, but yeah, it was supposed to be a nice thing, but then it went kind of people do good things for bad things. I don't know if you guys remember, but yeah, the dating sites were like that for a while until eHarmony and Match.com came in and kind of cleaned them up and made them subscription-based services. That was a good idea, let me tell you. Before that, they were kind of rough. Actually, I met my fiance online as well. I met her through eHarmony. Great, it's great. Any of the paid dating services, by the way, are really good because they're keeping your data safe, and as well as too, you're not going to get any of the creepers on there. Or you get much less of them anyway. I think that's one thing that the dating sites have definitely done right is work with the anonymity piece, and as well as keep people's identity a lot safer, and definitely kind of filter out the nut jobs. that are out there on the internet, because there still are out there. I mean, free dating sites especially. Anybody out there that's got kids, if your kids are hanging on a free dating sites, get them off there, because there's way too many creeps on there. But yeah, that's something you definitely got to. The dating sites has definitely been cleaned up a lot. Talking about chat roulette, I kind of got off topic there, but that's okay. But yeah, anything like that was going to be interaction. And meeting up. That's the other thing too. Anything. That's what I tell people all the time. Always be careful, especially when you're meeting up with people from the internet. Go to a public place. Especially if you're meeting them off dating sites or that. Always go to a public place for safety and security and stuff like that, because they don't know you and you don't know them, and I think it's safer for everybody. But yeah, the second only thing is for the ham radio though is really cool. It goes over VoIP, and it can be used worldwide. So. No specific hardware or software needed. It's all, just the Echo Link client. It's really, really great. I recommend it to, to anybody that's it's a ham radio operator. You have to be licensed, and you have to register your call sign via telephone or, via picture or via a debit card. So, but yeah, it's a really fabulous product. Any ham radio guys out there, it's definitely a product. So let me get on to the questions now. I got to tell you, I love all the emails and all the twits and all that type of stuff, and tweets and twits. That's funny. I was watching David Letterman's piece on Twittering and Twitter machines. That was great. If any of you have time, it's definitely worth to watch. It's a 10-minute clip. It's hysterical. He tweets about making toast and stuff. It's funny. Let me get to your question. I tell you, like I said, I love all the mail, on all the tweets and all that type of stuff. But I can't answer every question on the podcast, so I do try to email people back at, individually and stuff. But I do appreciate all the mail. I do my best to get to as many of them as you can. I try to grab the good questions that'll be interesting, but I try to respond to everybody. And again, if you have any questions, I try to keep all the questions to the Twitter account, because it's just easier for me to manage. So like I said, any questions or anything at Lapani Tech. I think you can hit me on Skype too if you want. Let's see, I have a couple of questions here. I'm looking for a tablet and I need Office. I have to have Office. I use Office for my work, and I definitely need a tablet with Office. What would you recommend? Need to have some gadget questions on here. It kind of breaks up the whole security piece. I definitely recommend, if you need Office, if you have an iPad, you can get Office for the iPad. The other thing you could do if you have to have Office is you could use a Surface tablet, because they do come with Office. I don't think they're very good, but I mean, if you really need Office, a Microsoft Surface tablet is something you could do. There are Office packages though for Android tablets, but they're not Microsoft Office, but there are other Office packages that are offered. If you have an Android tablet, you could use Google Docs. That's an option for you as well if you have an Android device. But if you have to have Microsoft Office, a Surface tablet, probably be your cheapest bet. Or you can go with an iPad and get Office for it, the Office app. You don't have to pay for it, but at least you'd have your Office. So that's what you could do. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? Do you recommend a Roku or a Google TV? Actually, it's kind of funny because we talked about the Roku already. We do promote the Roku on the website and stuff, and I do promote it because I do think it's a very, very good product. The one thing that's different about the Roku is you do have to, the Roku is on its own channel. You do have to switch off. You have to switch off a TV and switch off to another HDMI port to use the Roku. One thing I said about the Google TV is the TV lays through it. So you can do your searching and stuff while you're actually watching TV and stuff. And I mean, Google, both of them have their pluses and minuses, by the way. I'm not saying one is better. I mean, I am partial to the Roku, but the Google TV, it's an okay product too. It really all depends on what you want to do. I tell people, I've had people ask me that before, and they tell me they download, they want a product that they can watch all these hundreds of Apple movies that they downloaded. Well, if you're into downloading media and into downloading series, and you don't want to use subscription-based services, you want to own the products, then I'd recommend an Apple TV. So it really depends on what you want to do. if you want something that's going to have everything on it, I mean, the Roku definitely has that. It has a channel for everything. The Google TV is a little bit different. It really all depends on what you want to do. So if you have any more questions about that, feel free to ask, and I'll answer them the best I can. I think my Android has malware on it. What should I do? Well, there's a lot of on the Play Store. There's a lot of antivirus. I know AVG and Avast have antiviruses for your Android. There is rootkit checkers for the Android. Just make sure you don't confuse the rootkit checkers with the rootkit apps. So definitely go ahead and do that. And if you think you have Android, the other thing you can do is you can back your stuff up, wipe it, and then re-download all your contacts again, because Google saves everything up in their Google Cloud. So that's an option for you as well. Let's see. We got a lot of questions this week. It's really, really great. Like I said, I do like it. I wish I could answer more of them. This is one of the reasons, guys, why I want to do a live show too, so you guys can Skype me, or even with Skype, you can actually call me right through Skype, and I can answer the questions live on the air. This is a neat question. We'll talk about this one for a minute. Dictionary attack or rainbow tables attack? Which one's more dangerous? Well, the dictionary attack and the rainbow table attack, you're both going to need about 30 gig. About a 30 gig, 32 gig file, and it's going to run for a while. But the faster one is always going to be the rainbow table attack, because you're comparing against hash, and you're comparing hash against hash rather than attempting to try every single password in the dictionary. So I think the rainbow table attack is definitely, I can guarantee, it's definitely much faster. It's been proven to be much faster, but rainbow table attacks are much more dangerous, and they're much quicker. If you think anybody's doing a rainbow table attack, I would recommend disabling the account right away and definitely running a scan, checking your network diagnostics, see if you get a lot of password requests and stuff like that. Rainbow table attack, it's taking it's comparing password hash, it's comparing the answer question and the information in the data in information in the database against. It's comparing. So let me try that one again. It's comparing the challenge question against the saved hash. So, and what it's doing is comparing its hash in its little file against the hash from the answer question. So it's definitely going to be faster to do a rainbow table attack. However, though, if you think, like I said, immediately disable the account and immediately run some network scans and check to see if you're seeing a lot of challenge questions and a lot of hash comparison happening. You'll definitely see it right away. You'll notice it creates an incredible amount of traffic, so you'll notice it, and you actually will notice a slowdown in your network if you think somebody's doing a rainbow table attack to you. If you're running a dictionary attack, you're going to notice that the accounts are going to be getting locked out a lot more. So with the rainbow table attack, you don't get the accounts really locked out because it's just comparing hash. It's not trying every single password. So either one, if you're having problems, if you're having problems with stuff like that, let us know. We can definitely help you out with that. Our experienced people here know a lot about passwords and stuff like that, and we can help you out. So LePannyTechnologies.com if you need assistance. Actually makes me worry now because most people are closed Monday and Tuesday. So if this guy having anything like that on his network, the person has 2 days to hack away at him. So many good questions here. Using SSH on Sent, and what key size should I use? Well, what are you using? Are you using OpenSSH, I guess, is what I want to ask you. If you're using OpenSSH, you can SSH using a 2048 key. And RDP, using RD, if you want to use RDP or something like that, you can SSH in and create an SSL terminal, and then go ahead and you can SSH RDP, or do whatever you need to do through a Windows network. A lot of people are doing that, by the way. They run Sent or any type of Linux OS outside. They give out an SSH key. The person SSHs in, and then they run they create a link and then they go ahead and RDP and stuff like that in. So that's really great. Or you're just talking about SSH into a server and doing what you need to do. Either way, open SSH and at least a 2048 key I would recommend. You can actually generate those randomly, which is safer than making one. What else we have here? One WordPress on a server that. What OS do you recommend? I was thinking about using Windows or a Mac. Well, you definitely could use Windows. Mac does have a version of a WordPress version. However, I am not extremely familiar with it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really familiar with that, so I can't really comment on that. With the Windows version, you're actually going to have to load Windows version of Apache. If you're going to go that far, you might as well run on a Linux box. Center, Ubuntu usually do, especially Ubuntu does really well with WordPress. I would recommend doing that if you're gonna go that far. Windows, I mean, you can't run it doesn't, or WordPress doesn't really work with IIS, so you would have to actually load Windows version of Apache. So I would recommend definitely using Linux box. It's always better, more secure, safer, take more hits, especially if you're not going to run the GUI. Gives it a lot more resources. What else do we have here? My friends and I are running a Bitcoin mining server. We're trying it out, seeing what it's like. What hardware would you recommend? Well, Bitcoin mining, or what processor would you recommend? Bitcoin mining really isn't done so much at the processor level. The Bitcoin mining is done more on the more with the video cards. You need a really, from what I've read about it, you need really, and I know a couple of people that have done some of this. You actually, because the way the hash is, there's no way the processor could crack it quick enough. The way what you have to do, since you're running a hash like that, you have to use a really, really beefy, fast video card. There's a program you can download. You turn the video card into the number cruncher, and you use the video card on I've seen it more successful on a Windows box than I have on a Linux box. Actually, you run like a really, really like a 1 gig or two 1 gig cards bridged, and you run a program, and then you run your Bitcoin program through the video cards, and that's how you crunch the numbers. So the video card, the processor, and the RAM aren't a big thing as much as the video card. A lot of people don't know that. Last question I'm going to ask here. Is there anybody who install a scanner on the Android? If you're running an Android tablet, though, you should have a pretty beefy camera. So whatever you're trying to scan, you just take a picture of it. That's what I would do. That's what I've heard a lot of people do, actually. That's one of the reasons why they give you such high-res cameras on these Androids, so you can actually go ahead and use the camera instead of a scanner. That's what I would do. That's definitely what I would do. Use the camera instead of a scanner. Okay, so let's see if we have any other good questions. I think that's going to be it for the Q&A right now. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for the question and answer session we're doing right now. Trying to see if there's any more good questions here. One more question here. Oh, this is a good one. Last one here, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm running a Dell, and every time I load Microsoft Security Essentials on it, blue screens. You know what? I have to tell you, I've read about this. There's actually a driver conflict, and I only learned about this about a week ago myself. So there's actually a driver conflict between the Dell mass storage device driver and the the Microsoft Security Essential driver. You have to try a different antivirus. You can't run them both the same box. I don't know why. You just can't. Use AVG or Avast for your antivirus protection on that particular box. There's no way you're going to get around it. So, well, I want to thank everybody for listening here today. This is actually one of our longer podcasts we've had in a while here, which is fine. Believe me, I enjoy doing this. Like I said, I like talking to all you, giving all of you wonderful people and listeners information. Again, if you want to go ahead and contact me, it's at LaPannyTech on Twitter and at LaPannyTech on Skype. our blog, allamericancomputerrepair.com/blog. Our eBay store, again, aacrstore.com. And our sponsors, obviously, on our website, Roku and Audible, if you're interested in any of those services. I also want to talk about, too, a brief conversation here. Lapani Technologies, we offer security services. We offer, services for Windows and Linux infrastructure. Like I said, we are a security company, but we do have, we're very, very versed here in Linux, as well as Windows infrastructure. And, we work with many different network architectures, many different structures. We service a lot of huge clients, and I'm sure if I mention their names, which I'm not going to, because we have, God, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Non-disclosure agreements with them. Thank you. But we do service a lot of huge customers around the globe, and we do, like I said, we're a security company, and as well we also do Linux and Windows architecture. And we're actually coming May. We're going to be celebrating 10 years in business. And if you are familiar, if you're interested in our services, LapaniTechnologies.com. And like I said, we want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast here today. If we don't talk to you, have a nice Christmas and have a nice New Year. And again, I wanted to thank everybody for listening. And I want to, hopefully we'll talk to you before the new year, but if not, have a nice Christmas and a wonderful New Year. And I want to say one more thing before we get off the air. We all survived the end of the world. December 21st came and went, and we're all here. Hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. And I want to thank everybody for listening, and I want to thank all of our customers and everybody for making this year one of the best years we've ever had. And we will continue to do our best to provide everybody with the best services, best blog, and best podcast. Thank you very much, and like I said, enjoy your holidays.